जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Thank you.
जय श्री श्री राधा गिरधारी भगवान की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय। श्री श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकाधीश भगवान की जय। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान की जय। श्री श्री लड्डू गोपाल की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता ऐसे देश की जय। श्री अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय। निताय गौर चंद्र प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Shri Gauranga ki jai. Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho दीनबन्धो जगत्पथे गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते महाविष्णु गोस्वामिनिति नामिने नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं दैवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता ऐसे की जय श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय श्री अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय जगत गुरु प्रभुपाद की जय नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण श्रीमती महाविष्णु गोस्वामी नामिने नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रसारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशारिणे. So Hare Krishna. Today we are discussing a very, very interesting and very important point, which is tricks that mind play. Now, this program, as I say, this 5 to 6 is for the seniors, but we kept it open for all because I think that it benefits us, it benefits everybody. So, what is mind is another discussion point. So, here we'll assume that we understand what is mind. and with that, let us come to the discussion about the tricks that mind play. As we come to understand the discussion of tricks that minds play, we wanted to discuss about the life of a great rishi, Saubhari Rishi, Saubhari Muni. His life is very instructive for all of us, for all eternity. But before we come to the Katha or the life of Saubhari Muni, Rishi, we have to go into the background of Saubhari Rishi and especially into the background and the back history of his father-in-law by the name Mandhata, who comes from the Ikshvaku dynasty. Ikshvaku Maharaj is one of the 10 sons of the current Manu, Vaivasvat Manu. He is the seventh Manu in the day of Brahma. So as I said, and we are towards the middle day of Lord Brahma's day, just before 12 o'clock. So, in the current Manvantara of Vaivasvat Manu, in the dynasty of Ikshvaku, because the different sons, here the son of Nikumbha was Bahulashva. The son of Bahulashva was Krushava. The son of Krushava was Senajit, and the son of Senajit was Yuvanashva. Yuvanashva is the father of Mandhata, the father-in-law of Saubhari Muni. Now, it so happened that Yuvanashva had no sons, no issues. So that's when he became of age. He retired from family life and went to the forest. He had 100 wives. So although he went to the forest with his 100 wives, all of them, including Yavaneshwar, were very morose in the forest. So the sages in the forest, being very kind of on Yavanashwar, they begin to inquire what happened. They say, we don't have child, that's why we are now retiring in the forest at early age. So they became very compassionate towards Yavanashva, King Yavanashva and his 100 wives. And they started to perform a very important yagna. This yagna was called Indra Yagna. This particular yagna was for begetting a child, a son, for King Yavanashva. Now it so happened that when the yagna was being performed in the forest for satisfying Lord Indra, it went on for many days. In one of the nights, one night, the king woke up, felt very thirsty, and he wanted to drink some water. So he went to the place of the yagna or sacrifice, where some brahmanas were also lying down, because they finished the yagna for the day and were sleeping there. So the king went there and he just took up water which was kept on a pot. I can drink the pot water. So he drank this to quench his thirst, this water, and went back to sleep. But this particular water on the pot was that special water which was sanctified, which was actually being performed, the yagna. It was meant to be drunk by his wife, so she could beget the child. Now, King Yavanashva drank that water. Next day morning, when brahmanas got up from the bed and they saw the water pot is empty, and they inquired, who drank this water? When they inquired, they about who has done this work of drinking water, because this was meant for begetting the child. The brahmanas could understand. They came to understand it was a king who drank that water by mistake. So they said, alas, this is the will of the providence. Providence is the real power. No one can counteract this power of the Supreme. So they offered the respectful obeisances unto the Lord. You see, we would be fighting, we'd be screaming. So what have you done? Finished, you destroyed everything. That's not what Brahmanas thought. Truly. They could understand providence. Many times we think of something, but something else happens. So, I don't know, and everything sort of falls into custard, falls over. So at that time, we have to realize, man may propose, but ultimately it is God, Krishna, who decides. So this is what happened in this case. Providence. So, the Brahmana said, well, that's it. We can't do anything more now. This water was supposed to be given to your wife to be drunk. She would have got pregnant. Now, so guess what happens? In due course of time, a son with all good symptoms of a powerful king came forth from the right side of King Yavanashva's abdomen. You'll say, wow, how is it possible? Well, you do not accept the power of the mantra, sanctified water. It came out from the right side of the abdomen. So we always think about child being born in a particular way, but there are other ways. These are all higher authorities. These are sons of Manu, dynasty of Ikshvaku. So this child is born now, and the child, very beautiful child, with all the powers of the king, powerful king. But the child was asking for mother's milk. The child needs mother's milk, mother's breast milk. What to do? The Brahmanas became very morose. The child is crying. So who will take care of this baby? They were thinking and praying in this way. At the time, Lord Indra appeared in the scene because the yagna was to perform to satisfy him, you see. And on his mercy, the child was born. Indra said, don't cry, and he gave his index finger to the baby's mouth. Say, now, you drink from me. Indra told this to the child. So, because Yuvanashva, the father of the baby, was blessed by the Brahmanas, he did not fall a victim to death. After this particular incident, he performed severe austerities and achieved perfection at that very spot. He did not have to go anywhere else. So that son later became known as Mandhata. He was so powerful personality. He would cause fear. You know, he was also he would cause fear amongst all the rogues and rascals of the world, including Ravana. He was also afraid of this Mandhata, son of Yuvanashva. All the thieves would run away from anxiety. That's why his name is also called Trasadashiyu. Meaning that all the thieves and rogues are running away from him. This name was given to him by King Indra. And by the Supreme Personality of Godhead's will and mercy, the son of Yuvanashva was so powerful that he became emperor of the whole entire world, consisting of 7 islands, without a second ruler. Now, what are these 7 islands? Earth. You have 7 islands on Earth. You got island of America, Australia, North Pole, South Pole. We've got Asia, etc. We'll come to that a little later. So, Mandhata's reign, he was ruling. It was said from a place where all the places were covered with the rays of the sun. So wherever the sun rises on the horizon, shining brilliantly, wherever the sun shines, everything was in the possession of the celebrated Mandhata, the son of Yuvanashva. See? Do you see similarity in the way today's movies are being made? Especially the Lord of the Rings, they say so-and-so name, the son of so-and-so. They've come from Srimad Bhāgavatam, the great Mandhata, the son of Yuvanashva. Now, this is his position. Now we'll come to Saubhari Rishi, a topic of discussion today. Saubhari Muni, Saubhari Rishi, he was very austere, very powerful personality, Muni. He would perform great austerities for a long duration of time. He was meditating actually at the time in the deep water of the river Yamuna. Mind you, Ma Ganga, Mother Ganges, had yet not appeared. This is before Ma Ganga's appearance on earth and in the universe. Before Bhagirath, King Bhagirath welcomed and prayed for Ma Ganga. That's another pastime. Maybe we can have a discussion on that separately later on, how that happened. So back here, Saubhari Muni, he was meditating, deep meditation, deep in the water of Yamuna. Now you can say, how can somebody breathe in the deep water? Exactly, they don't breathe. They suspend breathing. You see? And in that position, just imagine how powerful this personality should have been. And with that, in that stage of trance meditation, he saw a pair of fish engage in sexual affairs. Just see. Thus, when he saw this, it is mentioned that thus he perceived the pleasure of sex life. He perceived the pleasure of sex life when seeing two fish meeting. And thus, induced with this desire, his meditation was broken. He came out of the river Yamuna and went to Mandhata, the king of the world. Mandhata at the time had 3 sons and 50 daughters. So he went and said, I'm begging for one of your king's daughters, to get married to her. I want to get married now. So the king told him, Mandhata told him, O Brahman, any of my daughters may accept any husband according to their personal selection. I have I cannot tell anything. They can choose. You see, very cleverly, he did not say no. He said like this, any of my daughters can choose, I have got no problem. He understood. Saubhari Muni understood that yes, I am an old man now, feeble, weak, old man. My hair have become all grey. My skin has become slack completely. My hair is trembling, Besides that, I'm a yogi. Therefore, no woman would like to marry me. They would not like me. To marry me is another point altogether. Since the king has thus rejected me, so he understood it. He was rejected by the king. He said, I shall, with my austerity, I will change my body and make it very beautiful and young again. So that what about the king's daughters, even celestial women, they would desire me. That's how he changed his body into a very beautiful personality. So Saubhari Muni became very young and beautiful. See, the yogis have got this mystic power, the siddhis. One of them is this. The messenger of the palace, one day he went to the palace and the messenger took him inside because it's so beautiful he saw, He took him inside the palace, in the inside quarters of all the princesses. It was very opulent, the residential quarters. And when all the 50 princesses saw him for the first time, they all wanted to marry him together. He was so beautiful. So, although he was only one man, he married all 50 of them. They were so attracted to Saubhari Muni that after marriage, they even gave up their sisterly relationship, and they quarreled among themselves. Each one of them saying, this man is just suitable for me, not for you. In this way, there was a great disagreement, Family life, material life starts for Saubhari Muni. Now, because Saubhari Muni was expert in chanting mantras perfectly, understand this point, this is very significant. Because he was very expert in chanting mantras perfectly, his severe austerities resulted in an opulent home. With a description about his home, it says, with garments, ornaments, properly dressed and decorated maid servants and men servants, maid servants and men servants, and varieties of parks with clear water lakes and gardens. In the gardens, fragrant with variety of flowers, beautiful flowers were growing. Different kinds of beautiful birds came, they were chirping there. Bees were humming. Surrounded by professional singers, atmosphere was very beautiful. Saubhari Muni's home was amply provided with valuable beds, seats, ornaments, arrangements for bathing. There were varieties of sandalwood creams, beautiful garlands, palatable dishes to eat. Thus, surrounded by opulent paraphernalia, the Muni engaged in family affairs with his numerous wives. Now, in this particular verse, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Saubhari Rishi, he was a great yogi. Now, by yogic perfection, makes available 8 material opulences. Yeah? One can become smaller than the smallest, taller than the tallest. One can create a planet also. One can get any amount of riches. One can desire what he wants to do and he gets it. So it's technically called Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishitva, Vashitva, Kama, Vishayata. So Saubhari Muni exhibited super excellent material opulence and material enjoyment by the dint of his yogic perfection. Now, we said he was expert in chanting mantras. So in this particular verse, there's a word called Bahavra Rucha. Bahavrucha. Bahavrucha means expert in chanting mantras. That means material opulence can be achieved by ordinary material means, like people work hard and become very rich, material opulence. It can also be achieved by subtle means through mantras. Well, we did not know. Now we know. So clap your hands. Now we know. So by chanting mantras, Saubhari Muni arranged for material opulence. But this is actually not perfection of life. So what happens is that seeing this opulence of Saubhari Rishi, the daughter, the king Mandhata, his father-in-law, who was a king of the entire world consisting of 7 islands. It came again, 7 islands. He was struck with wonder. Now, what are the 7 islands? I said we'll discuss in short time. It requires a bit of discussion. 7 islands, we have to understand this from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhāgavatam. There are descriptions of this, and also in the Surya Siddhanta. These 7 islands are not some islands on earth. They are 7 islands of Bhumandala. Things which are subtle existing in the material platform. The 7 islands or Dvipas are called Jambudvip, Shakadvip, Salmali Dvip, Kusha, Krauncha, Gomeda, Aplaksha, and Pushkara. So whenever Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about earth, it says earth, we should therefore understand that it includes these 7 islands and oceans surrounding Mount Meru, an area that spans for millions of miles. It also includes Sumeru Mountain. Now it's a very Sumeru mountain. I don't see it. Well, that's right. This is where it exists in a subtle plane, not spiritual plane, subtle plane. And everything is surrounding Sumeru mountain, Mount Meru. Now, if you think this is too much for you, then wait and watch. Listen to me. The 7 oceans, respectively, for the 7 islands, they contain salt water, sugarcane juice, ocean, liquor ocean, good free liquor, right? Clarified butter, milk, emulsified yogurt, and sweet drinking water. Gajendra Moksha happened in the ocean of milk, just for information. But he was in the fourth Manu, where the seventh Manu. So all the islands are completely surrounded by these oceans, and each ocean is equal in breadth to the island it surrounds. That means how big it would be, millions of miles. So Mandhata was the king of this entire world, consisting of 7 islands. He was struck with wonder when he saw the household opulence of Saubhari Muni. Thus he gave up his false prestige in his position as emperor of the whole world. Saubhari Muni was so powerful, he left home. He said, "What is this? I've done so much hard work and I became so opulent. Here is Saubhari Rishi, Saubhari Muni. Just by the virtue of his mystic power, he is more powerful than me." So in this way, Saubhari Muni enjoyed his life, full of sense gratification. There was no limit for his material enjoyment. He can, whatever he wants, whatever desires, he could achieve. He had 50 wives, beautiful women. He had so many hundreds of sons through them. He should be happy, right? No, he wasn't. He was not satisfied. And we, with one house, two houses, are very satisfied. We feel very happy, I'm very rich, And there is politicians going, "Oh, income district, it's so bad. People can't achieve their home, all this." Here we're talking about opulence, which is unrivaled in the material world, where the king of the whole earth, whole world, he felt ashamed seeing this. But still, Saubhari Muni, he was not happy because a certain amount of piety was still there. He said, just like it is mentioned, just like fire never ceases blazing if constantly supplied with drops of fat. That was the position of Saubhari Muni. He was not satisfied at all. So one day, this happened. Sa kadachit upasina atma panavam atmanah atma pahnavam atmanah dadrusha bahva ruchacharyo mina sanga samuthitam. One day, while Saubhari Muni, who was an expert in chanting mantras to create all this opulence, he was sitting in a secluded place. He was not satisfied. And he thought to himself about the cause of his fall down. See, fall down. What is fall down in this? For us, everybody gets married. It's nothing falling down in this. And he was richer, but he was from the position that he was in. He fell down. So he was thinking like this. The cause of his fall down, he was thinking, which was simply that he had associated himself with the sexual affairs of the fish. Just this one thing. He saw, he got attached, he associated with it. Everything finished, gone. Now he has whole family to look after. Now his fall down, there's a reason behind it. They're not ordinary people. Actually, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada gives reference of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says that, he remarks that Saubhari Muni had fallen down from his austerity because of a Vaishnava aparadh he had performed, he had done. And what had happened was, once Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, he's bird, so he's allowed to eat fish. This staple diet, So he would go and eat fish. So this fish went and took shelter from Saubhari Muni. He was meditating underneath there, meditation in the water. He said, "No problem. I'll make sure Garuda doesn't touch you. Go." So that's how he did not allow Garuda to eat fish. It's an aparad. Garuda could have taken his immediate action against him, but he did not. He moved away. And it is the same place where Kalia, the Kalia serpent, where Krishna danced on him, he took shelter, same place, after being defeated by Garuda. So Kalia was also defeated by Garuda. But Lord Krishna defeated him to give him benediction, blessing. So he danced on him. Kalia serpent. So Saubhari Muni, his fall down, he's saying, he's thinking further. Alas, while practicing austerity, even within the depths of the water, and while observing all the rules and regulations practiced by saintly persons, I lost the results of my long austerities simply by association with the sexual affairs of fish. Then he says, everyone should observe this fall down and learn from it. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. See, this is great personality. Learn from me. Don't do this mistake ever again. Now imagine this. What has got those fish got to do with human being? But still, one can get agitated and finished. This is how he thought. So, Saubhari Muni concluded, he did some conclusion with this particular verse. Sangam tyajeta mithuna vrutinam mumukshuhu sarvatmana na vrsujet bahir indriyani ekascharan rahasi chittam ananta ishe yunjita tad vrutishu sadhushu chet prasangaha. So this is very nice. He says, Sangam tyajeta mithunadi vrutinam mumukshuhu. So, Sangam means association, mixing, association. Tyajeta mithuna vrutinam mumukshuhu. Tyajeta means one should give up. Tyajdena, so one should give up. Mithuna vrutinam. Mithuna means a person's engaged in sexual affairs, whether it is legal or illegal. Now, what is legal sexual affair? Can you tell me? He's my legally wedded wife, so I can have sex with her. He's my legally wedded husband, so I can have sex with him. Right. So, please, this is very austere. And this is for those who really want to, at every stage, there are different stages in our lives, But he's saying this here, that one must give up the association of a person engaged in sexual affairs, whether legal or illegal, mumukshuhu, for persons who desire liberation. So if you desire liberation, give up the association of this kind of people. Then he says, Sarvatmana na vrshej bahir indriyani. So in all respects, with all the external senses one should employ, do not associate with this kind of people. Then he says, third line is, Ekas charan rahsi chittam ananta ishe. Ekaha means alone. Charan means moving. In Gujarati, there is the word charvano, charan, moving. Charan also means feet. So feet are required for moving. Rahasi means to live in a secluded place. Chittam ananta ishe. Chittam means the heart. Ananta ishe means fixed at the lotus feet of the unlimited personality of Godhead. Yunjita tad vruteshu sadhushu chet prasangaha. Yunjita, one can engage himself. Tat vruteshu, tat vratishu, excuse me, with persons of the same category, that is desiring liberation from material bondage. Sadhushu, such saintly persons. Chet, if. Prasangaha, one wants association. So he's saying that one should live alone, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if he really wants some association, if he's needing some association, then let him take association of this kind of people, same categories of people, who are sadhus. Let's come to the translation. Very hard hitting. So he's concluding this. He says that a person desiring liberation from material bondage must give up the association of persons interested in sex life and should not employ his senses externally, that is, in seeing, hearing, talking, walking, and so on. One should always stay in a secluded place, completely fixing his mind at the lotus feet of the Supreme Unlimited Personality of Godhead. And if one wants any association at all, he should take association. He should associate with persons similarly engaged. How beautiful is this? Of course, it is not for everyone in different stages of life, But those who are 50 and above 50 should concentrate upon these instructions. Those who are younger should know that, okay, I'm enjoying. If you want to become Brahmacari, well and good. Ladies can't become Brahmacharini. This is bogus. Ladies can't become Brahmachari. Men can become Brahmachari. If you want to become Brahmachari, follow state nicely. Best. No problem. Prabhupada says best. Become Brahmachari. The moment you want to have family, that means you have to have income. That means you have to have a house. That means you have to have so many things. So many headaches. Prabhupada says it's like a mountain you're carrying suddenly, on your head. Brahmachari, no problem. Sleep here, slept here. Food you get, you get. Food you don't get. Like I remember when we used to go to Rajkot, first time when we went. So Maharaj called me, We had gone earlier before all devotees would come for the Vyas Puja of Maharaj. And our Krishna was tiny, he was small. 5 years or younger, much younger. Maharaj said, in our temple here, the prasadam and all is cooked. We offer to the deities, but timing is not very good for you to eat, They offer to the deities and then they are busy with only few devotees are there, 3-4 devotees. They run around. They eat whenever they get time to eat, Brahmacharis they are. But you got small child, so do one thing. There is a nice place here. They sell sweets and there is very pure. So we know this. We know them very well, the owners. So they're pure sweets and all that, and some snacks and all. If you're vegetarian, you go and buy some food from there to feed yourself and your son. Here you'll not get. And true, they would sometimes eat at 2 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock, whenever they're free, and whatever is there, This is how they lead their life, But family is different, and Maharaj had family. So Maharaj knew this. And that's why Maharaj instructed me clearly on this point, So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Saubhari Muni, giving conclusions derived from his practical experience, instructs us that persons interested in crossing to the other side of the material ocean must give up the association of persons interested in sex life and accumulating money. It is also advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's a verse, very beautiful verse in Chaitanya Madhya Leela 11.8, and also in Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak 8.7.27. Nishkinchanasya bhagavad bhajano mukhasya param param jigamishor bhavasagarasya sandarshanam vishayinam atha yoshitam cha ha hanta hanta visha bhak bhakshanato api asadhu. So here it is, alas, the translation is, alas, for a person seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engage in sense gratification, and seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. You see, now just see how the mind works. Saubhari Muni had left everything. We also know about Maharaj Bharat, left everything, became attached to the deer. He left the whole world to go into the forest and meditate, but got attached to the deer and became deer. Here, Saubhari Muni was so great, so powerful, that he could meditate for such a long time, years, inside water, just suspending breathing. He was called the person who could chant mantras perfectly. He had all the opulences because of the chanting of the mantras. And just by seeing two fish engage in sex life, sexual act, he associated with that thought. Understand this point. So the gross action is one thing. It is good if we do not perform gross actions, but the thought is there. So it's not going to go away so easily. Don't get us wrong. Many of you are very young people here. And even older people also, the same problem exists. But at least as long as we are not performing physical action, it is still well and good. But still, if we want exclusive Krishna's devotion, then we must have exclusively Krishna in our heart, in our thought. That's why so many years ago, Maharaj in one of the classes had said that when we hear news that somebody has gone and robbed a bank, so Maharaj said, we are not interested in the action of performing robbing of their bank. We are more interested in the thinking why he robbed the bank. Subtle, for every action that is performed, subtle thinking is existing before. So here, Saubhari Muni got up from that ocean, from the depth of Yamuna, Mother Yamuna, and went straight to Mandata for asking for his daughter's hand for marriage, because he associated his thinking, seeing two fish having sex. So association is so bad. We think association is only about talking to people, becoming friends. No. Yes, for a great deal it is true, but those who are very, very serious for liberation, who don't have much time left in their lives, who think they don't have much time left in their lives, for us, this is the instruction. Our subtle thinking should also change. That's why Maharaj would say that unless your subtle body is attached to Krishna, it is very difficult for the gross body to attach to Krishna. So attachment to Krishna should be in the subtle form, subtle body of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So this is how the mind tricks, subtle function. Otherwise, he was sitting nicely. He could have achieved his perfection. So Prabhupada says here, one who desires complete freedom from material bondage can engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He must not associate with a Vishayi, means materialistic persons or those interested in sex life. Every materialist is interested in sex life. Thus, in plain language, it is advised that an exalted saintly person avoid the association of those who are materially inclined. Srila Narottam Das Thakur also recommends that one engage in the service of the acharyas. If one wants to live in association, he must live in the association of devotees. Tandera charana sai bhakta sanevash. Janame hoy ei abhilash. So the Krishna consciousness movement is creating many centers, now even online centers like this, just to create devotees, so that by associating with the members of the center, of such center, people will automatically become uninterested in material affairs. Although this is an ambitious proposal, this association is proving effective by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By gradually associating with the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, simply by taking prasad and taking part in the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, ordinary persons are being considerably elevated. It is true. But let me tell you one thing. Not all association is good association, because we have seen, even in Krishna consciousness movement, so many fall downs have happened by so-called big gurus and big authorities. Abominable things they have done, including child abuse, including having sex with minors, abusing minors, touching minors. So, yes, they are Krishna conscious movement, but their association should not be taken. We must learn from them. Use our intelligence. Read Srila Prabhupada's books thoroughly. Associate with Srila Prabhupada, and Krishna will protect us. We are preaching all right, but I speak my mind. So yes, this statement of Prabhupada is absolutely correct, and we follow this statement. But many of you are new, you do not know the history. So because of that, you should know history also. So you'll be cautioned and not making mistakes. And Prabhupada finally says such a beautiful punchline. Prabhupada says, Saubhari Muni regrets that he had bad association even in the deepest part of the water. Because of the bad association of sexually engaged fish, he fell down. A secluded place is also not secure unless there is good association. Because we have seen people living secludely that they smoke ganja and they think about all obnoxious things, Many moons ago, when Maharaj accepted sannyas, Maharaj had a big family, very rich person. In London, Maharaj gave up everything and came and stayed in first in Valsad, where I have come from, very close there. But then into Dwarka. In Dwarka also Maharaj went into a place for lane where nobody came. So they put a tent and lived on the road, under a tent. Imagine this. So some of the disciples would come, So Maharaj said this point to them, that people will leave, we could take sannyas, but they will not change their attitude, mental. They'll carry their mind with them. And this is what happens. The disciple, I think Devaki Prabhu was mentioning this point, that they went to Gomti to take bath, and they saw a sannyasi there, and he was listening to a radio transistor, to the news. So they asked him, why are you listening to radio transistor? You're sannyasi now, give up everything. He said, so what? I have to know the world news, no? What's going on around the world? So they went and told Maharaj. Maharaj said, see this? He left the world to be with Krishna, but is carrying the transistor to know about the world. This is the point where Prabhupada is saying that a secluded place is also not secure unless there is good association. You are taking association of radio, the programs going inside. Hare Krishna. So finally he says, Saubhari Muni is thinking, in the beginning I was alone and engaged in performing the austerities of mystic yoga. But later, because of the association of fish engaged in sex, I desired to marry. And then I became husband of 50 wives. And in each of them I begot 100 sons. And thus my family increased to 500 members. Sorry, 5,000 members. 15 to 100. By the influence of the modes of material nature, I became fallen and thought that I would be happy in material life. Thus there is no end to my material miseries. Thus there is no end to my material desires for enjoyment in this life and in the next. There is no end. We continue this thinking and desire all the time with us in the next life too. Now, this process of subtle attachment which Saubhari Muni experienced is very beautifully described in Bhagavad Gita, two verses. So many of you would know from our senior classes. We have discussed this verse many times. Where Krishna is saying, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangaste Supajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. So, first point, while contemplating the objects of the senses, that means not while actually engaged in. By contemplation means while thinking about the objects of the senses. You see, Saubhari Muni was meditating and he saw two fish engage in sexual act. So he contemplated, he associated his thought process with the fish, sex life. And that's why he went and said, I want to get married with a wife, to king's daughter. And then they would reject him. That's why he became very young, very beautiful, very powerful. Then he had to have big facilities for them. It's all gone. My simple life was finished. So Krishna says, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. So attachment starts with this contemplation, not when the physical contact happens. Of course, that becomes gross, happens attachment, but thinking it happens. And Krishna says, and from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Because if you don't satisfy lust doesn't only mean sex lust. Enjoyment is lust. Any kind of enjoyment is lust. And the moment anything is obstructed for enjoyment, you become angry. And then what he says? He says, Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smrti, vibramaha, smrti, brahmsad, buddhim nasho, buddhinashad pranashyati. So he says, from anger, delusion arises. From delusion, bewilderment of memory. You forget what is what. Delusion means you don't know what's going on. You are so angry in this situation. Memory is bewildered. You will forget whom you are talking to, what this person has done for you and not done for you. In our anger, we forget all those things. And he says, when the memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. Discrimination is finished. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. This is what happened with Saubhari Muni. And this happens with us all the time. It happened with Saubhari Muni once only. And he's such a great personality that he said, learn from me, please, learn from me. Those who are wanting to go back to Godhead, please learn from me. And here we can't even learn from our own mistakes. You see? But keep fighting. Keep fighting. And Krishna says finally, Raga dvesha vimuktaistu vishayan indriyais charan atma vishayer videyatma prasadam adhigacchati. She says, one who can control his senses by practicing regulated principles of freedom can attain the complete mercy of the Lord and thus become free from all attachment and aversion. Just see this. One who can control his senses by practicing the regulated principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. What does it mean? Krishna is not saying don't eat. Krishna is saying don't drink alcohol. Of course, not alcohol, but water. Krishna is saying, Krishna doesn't say that, okay, stop doing anything, enjoy luxury. Krishna says, no, as long as this regulated freedom is given to you. Why do you want to enjoy and engage your senses in something more than what is needed? You want money, money will come to you, no problem. Use money, no problem. Live in a lavish house, no problem. None of you live in poverty. But the thing is this, attachment should not be there. Prabhupada very beautifully mentions this point, answers this. So I'll repeat this translation again. One who can control his senses by practicing the regulated principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord and thus become free from all attachment and aversion. Now, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, it is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall down. Engagement, if it is not there. That's what happened with Saubhari Muni. He was meditating, but there's no engagement. He was becoming weak out of his yogic sadhana under the water. Here we can have rasgullas also, man, if you want to stop it. Serving Krishna. So Prabhupada says that although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on a sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. Those are two different things. One, a devotee may also be in sensual plane, but the attachment is not there. So the Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment. So if Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily desirable. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control, his devotee's control, because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. You see? So there's a hope here that even if we attach to sensual platform, if we know the ultimate goal, if you're not attached to the sensual platform, if you're acting on it, if you're not attached to it, we know ultimately Krishna is a supreme enjoyer, and for his enjoyment only we do. Then Krishna says, he takes charge of you. So, yes, anyone has any questions before I could speak on some other topics also, but I would like to focus here main on this point. This is how the subtle mind functions, and we are always victim of this mind, the tricks the mind play. And we can learn from the life of Saubhari Muni on this. Anyone like to say anything? Please feel free. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone like to say something? Please feel free. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Babaji. Thank you very much for your nice class. Yes, thank you. And just a couple of points when you were explaining. The Saubhari Muni was so good, had so much siddhis, and yogic powers, and he could have done, like he done everything, like he gone young and everything is provided to him, and still he was saying that he made a mistake. And what's our position? I was thinking, what's my position? I have to work for everything, so I don't have any yogic power. And we still thinking that we can enjoy here amongst these hardworking and so much miserable conditions. And the second point was that, as you said, that we shouldn't take the association of people who are with these lustful desires. And but it's very, very hard to find that association. And because I think myself that I'm not free of those desires, and I'm very much struggling. And but still, like as you mentioned, that even in ISKCON, sannyasis are fall down, and we will be careful to take the association. So my question was that, Prabhuji, so to choosing the right association, is it because do we have to get purified before firsthand, or because we are also in preaching work and we have those desires as well, and we try to give association? One point I understand that yes, we're doing on behalf, we're not doing it our own, but still when we do it, then it's sort of yes, makes it a bit hard, probably. Yeah, I just wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Association, your question about have we to become purified and then associate? It's a good question. I believe, in my experience, this is what people think. And even if you go to Vrindavan, when otherwise certain devotees don't associate with you. They may not even take prasadam from your hand. It's happened with me in Auckland, for Vrindavan. Do not take I was very new then, even now I'm very new, but I was giving it. No, they took it. I said, I'm giving it. He took it off my hand, took it in his plate, and he went. So good for him. I did not feel offended, but I said, this was interesting. But this is the point. From what consciousness does one give is very important. So, my answer to you is that at every stage, we can and we should look for the right association. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, I always give this example of Dhruv Maharaj. He wanted to know Lord Vishnu. So when he went to the forest, Mahavan, to meditate upon Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu sent Narad Muni that just take this boy away, man, 5-year-old child doing so much austerity. So he told him, why do you need this? He said, no, you don't waste my time, Bhagwan. If you know Vishnu, tell me, otherwise you're wasting my time. So he did not know Vishnu, Prahlad Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj. But he knew where to go. That is within our goal, where to go. That is within our goal. So if we say, I'll go anywhere, no problem, this is also good, that is also good, then you'll go everywhere. You jump around, dance around everywhere. But if you know, I've come to becoming devotee to go back to Godhead, then you must associate with those, you choose association. And first and the foremost thing you must do, anyone must do, is to study, associate with Srila Prabhupada. This right now, we studied about Saubhari Muni. This story was not spoken by me. It was given by Srila Prabhupada in Srimad Bhāgavatam. I just narrated it. But if you read it, Prabhupada is narrating it to us, all of us, to you. We don't think this way. We want him to sit in front of us and then talk to us in his voice. Then only we see. This is how we are. So, it is all up to us. If we really want to associate and think like those people, then we will find out those people. Is it not so? We tell our children also, no? You go and associate nicely with a studious student, not studious student. We search out studious student and sit with them. Is it not so?
Yes.
So same thing, point Prabhuji. And when we are serious, Krishna will provide everything. He's in our heart. So as far as our associating with those people in the material life is concerned, with those who are the second point which was saying, materially engrossed. At least we may be materially engrossed, but we know we don't want to be engrossed. They don't know about this also. So how to deal with it? The answer is this: that yes, till a certain age, when you are also growing, we also want you to become successful in your material life. So you'll become CEO of a company and all. You have to constantly associate. But I'll tell you one thing. My experience tells me, as you grow in any life, material or spiritual life, the boss is always alone. It's very lonely at the top. It's very lonely at the top. You must have heard this, CEO saying, it's very lonely at the top. Because they can't share this with anybody. Same thing, even if you are a manager, very lonely. You can't share with others. Similarly, if you are a leader of a team, of a spiritual devotees, at the top, you are again very lonely. Any leading is lonely. So you require association all the time. So even if you are very materially endorsed and have a CEO of a financial company or whatever it is, you can still associate with Prabhupada whenever you want. Associate with Krishna. Whatever you want to do it. But you should know, one day you have to leave this. Don't die with it. Of course, if you're dead earlier, you can't do anything about it. All these people, like Mandhata also, King Mandhata, when he saw the Saubhari achieve everything with his mystic power, and he had to achieve it the other way, he gave up everything. This is how we are. If we don't give up, material world will kick us out, including in our own family, especially men. Moment you are little 50 and above, be a disassociate with others. Don't neglect them, but focus upon your bhakti. That's why we have a whole plan, that we have, all of you should have pitching teams under you, so you are engaged. Otherwise, what will you do? How much will you read Bhagavatam? The walls will kill you, if you sit alone quietly. We're not purified as much, but then overall, we should. That's why you study and you preach. So this is a very thought out process of our preaching too. So the idea is this, that we go out and work. Like at your age, if you want to become CEO, perfect, all right, then you engage more. Otherwise, you're there and you come back and you're doing your business. Your home business different, So that's how it's a skill. It's an art. We will acquire that art. Acquire that art of being peaceful. Krishna is in the heart. You pray to Krishna. Krishna will guide you. Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you for explaining and giving the answer. Yes, I think this is one of the trick of the mind as well. That wants to. Yes.
As I told Maharaj, Maharaj, I'm 30, I was 33, 32 years old, Maharaj, when I'm 45, I want to retire. See? Maharaj said, hey, Ambarish wants to retire at 45. And Maharaj laughing, He said, you should retire every day. You should read every Bhagavatam every day. That's your retirement plan. Every day Bhagavatam, retire. Ambarish wants to retire. Retire. 45. He has a big plan, Maharaj said, in front of everybody. So many times I told you, so many times, morning, afternoon, evening also. Next day also Maharaj said in the classes, oh, Ambarish has planned. He wants to retire. 45 years. That's right, trick of the mind. But I tell you one thing, Maharaj laughed at me, but Maharaj blessed me. At the age of 45, I was semi-retired. from that age onwards. Global recession came, we're restructuring, they gave me a job. I said, I don't want this job, I'm doing my own business, good night. They said, what are you doing? People want. I said, no, good night. I have my own business and I'm happy now. Never seen back, never looked back. Krishna arranges everything. So please, as this coronavirus situation is there, 50 years, it may not be practical 50 years for everybody, But that means that you should know we have to, at some point in time, leave things, You may work till 65, whatever age, and retire from there. But after that, retire. But for that, retire every day. Then after 65, you know what to do. Otherwise, you will not know what to do. People die. After their job is finished, they die. They don't know what to do, man. Okay?
Yeah, I've seen a few people in my company working in field like the work I'm doing, and they are like over 65, and they're like getting pension as well, but they're not living. They said we don't know what to do. Means we just we want to work, They don't know anything else. They just want to work and then just go and do other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. That has to be avoided completely, That you must have.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please feel free if you have anything to say, anything to share.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just adding on a little to Sanjay Prabhu's question, that what if the bad association or poor association is kind of unavoidable? Like, what if it comes in the what if it's like your parents, your siblings, or say your spouse or husband or wife? So like sometimes you can choose association, but in these situations you may not be able to choose association. So what to do in that situation?
Good question. See, remember one thing. There is Krishna. He's alive. And he's a person. And you want him and he wants you. Don't forget this. So he will give us that much what is needed for our purification. So don't be disheartened. You all are, as I said, many of you are young people. You are still, even in your education, even in your spiritual life, you're just starting now. In your life, material life is just starting now. All of you. So this discussion is at this advanced stage, But still, you're very lucky, you know what to go for, what to aim for. So even if, for example, if your association, your husband or somebody is not interested, no problem. You are interested. You should not chant in front of me. Don't worry, don't chant in front of me. In your mind, you chant your rounds. No problem. Or you go away and chant your rounds. We have had devotees whose parents were being non-Indians, They could not offer food to Krishna. Don't talk about Krishna, will kill you, They would kick you out. So those would close the bedroom door, would have opened the deities, and offer whatever fruits to Krishna quietly, And then close the deity and then off. No problem. Bhakti is not restriction. I always said this to everybody. It is up to us to choose association, you see. Mother Tulsi's husband, he was a demon, man. Rakshas. So not to worry. All good. All Krishna arranges for everything. Nothing, as I said, you can cook non-vegetarian food, cook. You don't eat, cook for them, no problem. Chant Hare Krishna. This chanting of the Hare Krishna should not be forgotten. Whatever you do. Even if you can't chant 16 rounds, don't worry. Chant every day, whatever time you got, without counting. No problem. In extraordinary situation, Krishna is he'll cry more than you. When you cry, he'll also cry. He says, I need your help, Krishna. I cannot take your name. He says, yes, I also want to take my name. What to do? This demon is not allowing you to take your name. But I can't do anything. It's your husband, or your father or your mother or auntie or whoever it is, So don't worry. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. If you can't chant, chant in the mind. No problem. All good. They say, as I told you, even arti being performed in mind is bona fide. Offering big paraphernalia of gold and silver, jewelry, emerald from the mind, offer. It's allowed. With pure mind, just do it. I'm very sorry I can't do this arti, I can do it in the mind. But spend the time, 1 hour, half an hour. No problem. Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely.
Yes. As you will grow, you'll go to the intermediate levels and all that of spiritual classes. You'll have better idea on this, No problem. Hare Krishna. Saubhari Muni ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I want to ask one thing that you said females not getting married is not that, uh, like it's not appropriate, but I've seen many females also not getting married and they are living a brahmachari life. So is it fine for the females also?
Brahmachari, I said they should not become brahmacharini. There is no question of brahmacharini and all that in Shastra. No. They can be, I'm not saying they are not, they will be a very qualified person, but better that girl gets married, If they don't want to get married, no problem. They can remain celibate. No problem. Good enough. But they can't become brahmacharini officially, wearing saffron dress and all those things. It's not right. It's not bona fide. I know it is existing in India and all that, but that's not bona fide. Because brahmachari means a lot of things one has to do, One has to serve one's guru, beg for alms, A lot of things are there. That how will a girl go and do, Deity worship and all. There are physical limitations, So yeah, I mean, there are many women who don't get married. No problem. I had my aunt who was many months ago, that time, the marriage did not fell apart, so she was celibate after that. No problem. Very pious lady. But I'm saying official position of brahmachari and sannyasi. Sannyasins and all that is bogus. Women cannot be sannyasis. This is not as per Shastra. You understand what I'm trying to say?
True, Prabhuji.
Yeah. They can stay alone. They cannot get married. It's up to them. But ideally, they should. A woman should be on the shelter of the parents first, before the marriage. In the shelter of the father. If the father is not there, in the shelter of the elder brother. After the marriage, she's under the shelter of the husband. And after the husband is not there, in the shelter of the eldest son. If the son is not there, then goes back to the shelter of the father. Woman is always under shelter. This independence is a disease for no reason. Woman's independence is disease. It's a wrong thing. But the problem is that people don't understand what is independence and what is dependence. That is the problem.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
We're saying earning money is independent. No, it's not. Earning money, how can they earning money independent? Independence or dependence comes from the attitude, not from earning money. This is all foolishness. People who have no knowledge, who have no wisdom, they give all this nonsense arguments. Earning money is independent. That's not independent. That's earning money. Anyone can earn money. Even if you go to India and there are those on the streets, there's monkey doing dancing also, So people give money to the monkey. Monkey is earning money. So what's the big difficulty? Is independence? Foolishness. Complete nonsense. That's okay. But women should not be independent. It should be dependent. I tell you, if I could be dependent, I am dependent on so many people. You think I'm independent, right? I'm talking like this to everybody. I tell off everybody. I speak of big things. I'm independent or what? No way. I'm completely dependent on my parents. I'm completely dependent on Guru Maharaj and the Parampara. Completely. What is the verse we spoke about? Regulated freedom. So there's freedom within regulation. And when you are a good follower, you are king. You are on your own. Just like a woman, if he is dependent nicely, dependence doesn't mean that you are dependent on the husband. No, that means financially you can be independent. That's another point. You all are very well educated person. You are going to, if you're going to earn money, you're going to become very rich also. So that's fine. That's perfectly all right. Independent meaning what? I'll tell you. What is independent? Tell me. You should have this clear understanding with women. What is independence? You tell me. Women's independence meaning what?
But Prabhuji, I would not be independent any which way. We are all dependent. You can only give the answer. Right?
Good. That's best. That's best. That's best. You see? It's all bogus. They don't know what is independence, what is dependence. Everyone is dependent.
True.
Even the Prime Minister of the country is dependent. In the next voting season, he'll be out, he or she. New Prime Minister will come. How can you say I'm independent? You tell me. And because
Prabhuji, we have also the subject called globalization, where we are learning dependency, and how can we say that?
that's right. Very good. Very good. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely right. They say that women should smoke cigarettes, she's independent. Like men. She wants to become men. What? What nonsense is this? If she speaks bad words, galis, that means she's very independent, very advanced. Men giving galis? I don't speak galis. I've never spoken galis in my life. Not even one gali I have spoken in my life. Can you believe me? I should be given a medal, right? Avinash Prabhu, मुझे medal देना चाहिए. Not even one gali I have spoken in my life. Apart from Sala, I spoke Sala, that's all right. Apart from that, nothing. I have not spoken. All my surrounding people were all giving galis of all kinds. Everyone gives. Men, foolish people. Men are rascals all the time. They don't have a fine speech. They give galis. Women mean fine speech. But if you make women give galis, oh, very advanced. Giving galis.
And Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. I have also seen that people in rage give slangs, and then they say that, "Oh, I was in rage. I was in anger." So they, but that's not the correctified way to.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely right. So we don't associate with this kind of people. We don't say I don't want to talk to you. We talk to them, but we don't associate with them. We don't learn from them. I'm happy what I am. Simple as that. So this all misnomer is there, Independent means earning money. Yeah. Woman can earn any kind of money they want to earn, man. What's the difficulty? Job, she wants to do job. Best is she doesn't do job, but she wants to do, doesn't do job. But dependence is different. And sometimes a woman has to take charge when the husband is either not qualified, or husband is not there, or father is not there. She has to. So that doesn't mean she become independent. That means she's still dependent. You understand or not? I take charge of my son, for example, right? Depending upon what has been taught to me by my parents. So I'm dependent on my parents, what they've taught to me. Simple, no complications. In our devotion line, the parampara teaches us. That's why Prabhupada's books are very important. Very important. Very nice. Anyone else want to say anything, please? On our point of discussion of Saubhari Muni, the mind, what we discussed.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had not a question, but just a realization that I had on this point. So some time ago, I was thinking about so there's this entire movement about freedom of. Minute, I'll just close the door. Sorry. Yeah, Prabhu. So you're saying some time ago, I was just meditating on this point about, there was a lot of debate going on like the liberal front, which is like you should have absolute freedom over everything and anything at all, and this spirituality or religion restricts you in ways like Prabhupada are mentioning regulated principles of freedom. That is such a amazing word that I found. It is regulated principles of freedom, right? So
Krishna says
yeah,
this.
Krishna says this. Krishna says this on regulated principles of freedom. So I got this point that these people who want to indulge in all kinds of things in the name of freedom, we have this. We have the word samskar. So how samskar forms, right? When you keep indulging in one particular things, your mind conforms to it. Your subtle body conforms to that particular thing, right? And they don't know, but when they're indulging in that, they are actually getting bound by that thing. They're not getting free by doing that thing. They're getting bound by it. On the other hand, we, by practicing what may appear as a regulation, we're getting free from the ultimate bondage, not only just the material world and going back to the spiritual world and going back home back to Godhead, but within every day, every action that we take, we can take it very clear-headedly, is my experience. Like, you don't have to then, you're not attached to any particular thought process or anything. You can very clear-headedly decide what course of action to take. So this was my realization.
Very good, very good, very nice. See, this is what regulated freedom, is giving us the choice of using our intelligence. That is the thing, and you're using it very correctly. Very nice, very nice. Because we have to intelligently surrender. That's why many people come to us when they listen to our classes. They say, "Man, you don't talk like other." We thought somebody Babaji will come and he'll say, "Oh, this and that." You don't speak like that. You are like jumping ahead and getting and going like us. Do all those. Yeah, that's right. This is the point. Prabhupada's books are like this. What can I do? That is correct. That is correct. Very nice. I remember I had a lot of friends. I remember one particular incident. As you remember this one, we were going on 31st night party. So I would not drink. I would not drink. Very little. Sometimes I would taste I have drunk in my life, but I also not drink. No drinking. So all these people would like me to come with me for 31st. I don't drink. So I can drive them. So all of them were vomiting men. I said, "You guys are foolish people." I told you, foolish people. Why do you vomit? When you're vomiting, you're sick. That's why you vomit. You are right. What to do. But we are all freedom. That's what is freedom. I was very happy. I dropped them. I was very happy. And said, "You are very nice." I said, "Yeah, thank you. I know I'm very nice. Good night and good luck." So that's correct. They get caught up with their own thinking. Yeah. So if they say I'm free, I'll do this. But ultimately, they will depend upon doctors and so many things, which we are avoiding. So not to say that we want to. Best is to avoid doctors. Sorry, Swami, not to mean the way, but it's best. I tell my doctor, you're a nice person, but I don't like to meet you. I tell him. He also laughs. So you're a nice person. Not that I'm avoiding you, but I don't like to meet you. Doctors should be avoided best. Yes. Yes. Very nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much for a very nice lecture. I think it was, very important point that actually you discussed today. And especially I was thinking on that point of actually, the avoiding the association of the, materialistically inclined people. So I think that is always a challenge actually, means I experience actually, especially in the professional life, when you go, actually everything around is obnoxious, and initially means actually whenever I actually went to the new workplace or new team, initially there is always a criticism that actually you face, but I found it very tough initially. But actually what I mean, always I consulted you many times, and if you stick to the same actually principle, you even if you're going to party, you have to go, your conference, you have to go, what you're going to do there. but you go there chanting and actually you come out chanting, and slowly, actually, what I experience actually means everything. Means I thought it's not going to. It's going always. I thought like it is going to hinder my progress within the organization. I always thought like that initially but later I realized actually it didn't really. Actually, people start to accept you. They may not actually invite you to the parties anymore, and they normally say, they say, okay, Sheetal, actually, I would like to invite you, but I know you're not going to eat there, so better I don't, invite you. So I said, thank you. So that's what I realized, Prabhuji. But another point actually means important, because if you're associating with them quite a long time, if you go on actually conference for like week and week, it's important. What I found that if you don't come back to a chanting, or you don't come back to programs, you do get affected by their thinking. I found that, and even actually when I went to every time I visited India, you go back into your family and friends, and because you're meeting them after such a long time, you spend a lot of time with them. And actually, a couple of times I so inclined to go back to my old ways, because I actually once I went back, and all my old friends from university, they actually took me. I told them I don't drink, don't smoke anymore, you're gonna waste your time. But they actually took me to the pub, and I sit there, I didn't do anything, everybody's smoking and all that. And I realized actually when I come out, I was so struggling that actually means I thought I felt very weak, and then now I realizing that actually the association also, it affects, even if you are actually try to follow this. But now I don't feel that. Now I go and meet them, but actually it's been if you practice this long time, I think then it becomes stronger, then you don't feel attracted to the same stuff. And also actually friends now they actually don't invite you. If they want to meet you, they make sure that they are inviting you to vegetarian restaurant or something. So yeah, means actually if you come back to actually as Prabhupada means you actually taught us that always, even if you go to the parties and conferences or such places you have to go, always have to come out, actually start chanting, and it brings you back in your own mood. So I think Krishna always helps if you are willing to actually, go extra mile.
You're absolutely correct. Krishna always helps, So our motto is give Krishna a chance. Every day, give Krishna a chance. He'll take care of us. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else want to say anything before we finish today's class discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, as we all young people will going to indulge in material life and will going to be like in financial sector, or let's say family sector. So is it correct to be indulged in a family life, or financial life, or any sort of material life with that regulative principles, with that regulative freedom that is given, which you just told us?
See, as I said, being a lady, you will have to get married, So of course, your husband and all, they also dictate a lot of things, the family which you go to. So as I said, what can I do? You can't want, unless you say, oh, I'll not get married, I'll stay where I am. Then you have got difficulty with the parents. They will have a heart attack. So it's up to you. But if you can't, no problem. Just Krishna, what we're trying to say is this, that bhakti does not have any boundaries. Mirabai also got married, is it not so? She was married. Queen. She never gave up Krishna. That we should not forget. That is the point. Don't give up Krishna. In whatever way, even if they want you to give up Krishna, don't worry. Just quietly you do your things. Krishna will make nice arrangements. I'm telling you, even if you find that it's an extreme situation, just quietly keep doing your sadhana. Quietly, others should not know. Even in the mind, keep praying. Krishna works its magic. So no problem, Suchi. Don't restrict anything. You just continue. Make sure that we follow the 4 regulative principles that we do, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. With that, if you can read Srila Prabhupada's books here and there, is very nice. Associate with the right-minded people. The right people is very important association, and you'll be all fine. No problem. Life will be very easy. Otherwise, life is a burden for people, a real burden for people. Even young people they feel that this is like a mountain in front of me, But devotees are not like that, That's okay. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy, Is this okay? You got your answer?
Yes.
Good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Swami.
Yes, Prabhuji, I would just like to share something. When we were talking about the importance of association, and it really, I just thought that how association. I mean, yeah, when we are kids, then our parents are going to be like. I remember my mom saying कि ये लड़की उतनी अच्छी नहीं है, वो पढ़ने वाले बच्चों के साथ बैठना. And they really want you to be with someone who is studious and all of that. And I didn't really understand that. I would be like, अरे parents तो बस ऐसे ही बोलते हैं, it doesn't really matter much. But then as you grow up, you actually realize how true that is. I mean, I remember in my 12th standard, I had friends and they were not very studious. And in fact, my medical exam, I gave my NEET exam in 12th and I did not clear it in 12th standard. And I think there were a lot of factors, but yes, I think my association was a very big factor in that. And then in the next year, I had, I think, maybe 2-3 friends. And even those friends, they were very focused on studying, and we would only talk about studies and how much have I studied, what all is going on. And I think that environment and having those kind of friends, that was a very big contributing factor towards how my mind space changed, because I didn't think about going to parties or going to movies or anything like that. In fact, the entire day, even when I'm talking to my friends, we are just talking about studies. And that was something about studies, and that really affects, like, even now, if I do not attend classes for weeks, then it becomes very difficult to chant regularly. And I find myself very if people are going to parties, then I find myself even more if because of my association in college, the people are like that. So I find myself, like Shridhar Prabhu said himself, that people are always willing to go to parties and they drag you with them. And then you kind of feel ki, "Acha, everyone is doing it, maybe it is right if I do it." And for example, when we are children, like 10th standard, we are in school and we are under our parents. So even drinking or smoking, everyone is like, "Oh, main to kabhi nahi karunga, that is so bad. Who does that?" And we would never do that. And we actually think that these are wrong things and we should not be doing that. But once we go to college and we see that our seniors are doing it and all of our friends are doing it, then that gives us a sense that, okay, just because everyone else is doing it, so it must be okay. So even we can do it. So that really shows how association is very important. Thank you, Prabhu.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Very nice. Very nice. I always joke with my son, when we watch some Indian things, series or some movie and all, where they show men drinking and women also drinking nowadays, in a pub. So I say, in India, if you got in Hindi, we call a person drinking alone. It's called beoda. Do you like this word, beoda? And the girl is called Beudi. Hey, Beoda, hey, Beudi. Call them this once, Once you go to the party, say, you Beoda loge तुम. So Beoda to Beudi. Next time. एक अच्छा लगा सुनने को? Likes it? No, good. No problem, So I used to go to all kind of parties, Now I had my juice and all, no problem. As long as you are confident, one thing is very important. You should know one thing. I do not want all of you. I told my son also, do not have any deprivation. Krishna consciousness does not mean you're deprived of things. It's a choice you make. Okay? And second thing is very important. You will rule other people's reactions based upon how confident you are. If you're confident and say, no, I don't do this, right? Thank you. They say, all right, And they'll try once or twice and they will back off after that, You show them your teeth, they'll back off. Big time. And don't be afraid to show your teeth. Don't be afraid to show your teeth. It's your personal choice. This is freedom. This is called independence. I have a choice to make, right? I made this choice. Show me your choice. Very good. Very good. The idea is that if we can just instill this point in you, people's life, in everyone's life, at every age, that you can rely, you can fall back upon Krishna. At any point in time, you can just fall back upon Krishna, fall back upon chanting, fall back upon Srila Prabhupada's books, just falling back. It's very important to have an anchor. You may not know this, you may not realize this, but as you age, when you face different difficulties in life, you all will realize this, that, boy, we have something, an anchor, to fall back upon. You always go back there, in my cool place, my quiet place, my sweet place, spot. So that's good. That's good. Very good. Very good. Saubhari Muni has given us big instruction from his life today.
Just one question, Prabhuji. With Saubhari Muni, actually, he shared actually in his realization where he says that when he had a look at this fish, having sex in the water, and that actually basically disturbed him. But for a pure devotee, that is not a case, isn't it? Because someone like Srila Prabhupada, actually, when he went to the US, he was living among the hippies, who used to smoke and everything. So for such personalities like even Srila Gurudev, they are actually already at the pure stage, means they not get affected by the association, where they are actually only giving the association.
Yes, absolutely right. That's how it is, And second thing is what? They have realized knowledge. It's not bookish knowledge. They've been there, done that. Guru Maharaj also had children. So did Prabhupada had children. So he has gone through this. So never again, enough of it now. You see? So that's why I always say this point, that if you can avoid it, best. Prabhupada says the same thing. If you don't want to do it, become Brahmacari. You can avoid this, which luring, depend upon Krishna, that's best. If you can't, get married. You will come running to Krishna. Yeah. But these are very pure devotees. You should know this one thing. Those who are, as I read the other words, those who are not so pure also, Prabhupada mentions them in this same verse, 264, where one who can control his senses by practicing regulated principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord and thus become free from all attachment and aversion. So that means you want to have some enjoyment. You want to do it. But you know that ultimately we have to serve Krishna. This is where your past karmas are not purified. There's a tendency is there, but you don't do it. The thought is there, but you don't do it. But even if you do it, Krishna will ignore it for a period of time, as long as you fight out yourself. That's why I always say that when you the modes, we are always going to be defeated by the modes. Unless until Krishna says, now modes don't affect you, then modes will not affect us. Otherwise, we'll be defeated by the modes all the time. So yes, pure devotees are not affected by these things at all. Prabhupada said this, that if I were to go in a room where there are all young naked women, it will not disturb me, but it will disturb you. There's a difference. Prabhupada said that. And that's what happened. After Prabhupada's departure, some of them became, we are authorized, we have been gurus, Prabhupada's chosen us to become guru. It was not the case. It was wrong. It was fraud. And see, all of them fell down, most of them, Very few are remaining. So, and this is a fact, not only for anywhere else. It's not, we're just taking because Prabhupada mentioned about Hare Krishna movement. It's going to be anywhere else. So we should be very particular about bhakti as taught by Prabhupada. The problem is this, that we think that we become institutional conscious. That is wrong. We should become Krishna conscious. Once you become Krishna conscious, then you can perform bhakti anywhere. The moment you become institutional conscious, you will go and you think bhakti is only in the institution, not right outside. That is wrong. The time is over of that, because that thinking time is over, finished. You can't preach like this. Only if you come inside the temple, only then bhakti is happening. Otherwise, you don't. The time is over. This is not even teaching. Prabhupada not teaching that also. Nowhere does it say this. Of course, bhakti happens there. Bhakti is everywhere. So that's why books are the basis, Prabhupada said. My books are going to be the main basis for next 10,000 years. And you can go anywhere, inside a temple, outside a temple, wherever you feel free, wherever you feel you want to do it. It helps your bhakti, go and do it. Dhruv Maharaj. Very nice. Okay, anyone else want to say something before we finish today's discussion? All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. So, who's singing today? Whose turn is for today? Oh, Shubhadra is singing.
Hare Krishna.
You cover your hair? Shubhadra cover her hair.
You should cover your hair. Good, Nana. Go get it.
Oh, so nice. Very good. You did it last time also, huh? Very good. Very good, Shubhadra. Okay, let's start. 1, 3.
Maharaj, please hear us.
Maharaj, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned some real good stuff.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
And today for you we will sing.
And today for you we will sing.
If our room is clean,
If our room is clean,
then our mind is clean.
then our mind is clean.
If our mind is clean,
If our mind is clean,
we can do anything.
we can do anything.
If our room is dirty,
If our room is dirty,
then so are we.
then so are we.
But if we are dirty,
If we are dirty,
we're not happy.
we're not happy.
Wasting time.
Wasting time
is the greatest crime.
is the greatest crime.
Because wasted time.
Because wasted time
means a wasted mind.
means a wasted mind.
So best is your time.
So best use your time
When you're in your prime.
when you are in your prime,
In your whole life.
and your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone.
If your wealth is gone,
then there is nothing wrong.
then there is nothing wrong.
But if your health is gone.
If your health is gone,
then that's a different song.
that's a different song.
But if your characters die.
If your characters die,
then the whole will cry.
and the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior.
Only saintly behavior.
That's humanity thrive.
That's humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We must always remember Krishna.
You must always remember Krishna
And never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
But how are we to practice this when so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here's the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue.
Can only remember Krishna. We can only
You must learn to work so
remember so
nicely.
nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely.
So listen very closely
And make your thinking sharp.
and make your thinking sharp.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
If something due tomorrow,
If something does tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
Whatever's due today,
Whatever's due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy,
Your friends might be lazy
or doing bad things,
or doing bad things,
but you think again,
but you think again,
don't follow them,
don't follow them,
and you'll win the end.
and you will win the end.
Whatever work we're given,
Whatever work we given,
we do our really best.
we do our very best.
We only
only
live with what we need and keep Krishna the rest.
We only live with what we need and keep Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play. If you learn this way, you'll see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live this way, see Krishna every day.
When our time is up, he'll take us up above. He'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
When our time is up, he take us up above. We sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. Is the only in this world who can never become same.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. Is the only way this world will ever become sane.
We must always
Now,
remember.
please.
Now, please ask this greatest question.
Now please ask this greatest question
And find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue.
You can only remember Krishna.
You can only remember Krishna
Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai.
Jai Holiness Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki Jai.
Jai.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan Mahayagna ki Jai. Jai Gaur Chandra Premanande Hari Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhutale Shrimati Mahavishnu Goswami Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Bhutale Shrimati Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prasad and Vishesha Sundari Prasad. Hare Krishna. We will see you next week, same place, same time, Krishna willing. Till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy.